In the Novgorod region of the Russian Federation, where, according to Lavrov, Ukraine allegedly attacked Putin's residence last night, not a single drone was detected. This is confirmed by monitoring channels, as well as the absence of any reports about a drone attack on Novgorod region in Russian Telegram channels. The president of Ukraine calls this an outright lie. Volodymyr Zelensky responded to the words of the head of the Russian Foreign Ministry, who today accused Ukraine of attacking the residence of the Russian dictator. Moreover, Moscow diplomat Lavrov emphasized that Russia is already preparing retaliatory strikes. The president of Ukraine is convinced that these statements are aimed at disrupting peace negotiations.
Now, the Russians have obviously made up a fake story about some alleged strike on the residence of the Russian dictator so that they have an excuse to continue striking Ukraine, particularly to strike Kyiv, as well as to refuse to take the necessary steps to end the war. This is a typical deceitful tactic of the Russians, who have already struck Kyiv before, including the building of the cabinet of ministers of Ukraine. Ukraine does not take steps that could undermine diplomacy. Russia always takes such steps. This is one of many things that set us apart. It is important that the world does not remain silent now and that the Russians do not derail the movement toward peace.
Lavrov claimed that on Monday night, Ukraine allegedly attacked Putin's residence in the Novgorod region. Presumably, this refers to Valdai. Supposedly, all 91 were shot down by air defense there, attack drone. The president of Ukraine noted that he expected some rhetoric from the Russians after yesterday's meeting with Trump. Because, I quote, "If we don't have a scandal with America and we have progress, for them that's a failure, because they do not want to end this war." End of quote. Zelensky also emphasized that Russian statements could potentially be used as justification for new strikes on Kyiv. And in an interview with Fox News following negotiations with Donald Trump, President Zelensky stated, "Absolutely. The majority of Ukrainians are indeed in favor of signing a peace agreement, but not at any cost." During the meeting, the head of the White House referred to a recent public opinion poll indicating that 87% of Ukrainians support peace. Zelensky noted that according to this same poll, almost as many Ukrainians are against withdrawing troops from Donbass. Meanwhile, after Sunday's meeting between Zelensky and Trump, the American and Ukrainian teams agreed to continue working together in the near future on the aspects of the peace plan. More details about the meeting at Mar-a-Lago coming up.
The closed-door meeting at Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate lasted about 3 hours. Then they spent another hour talking on the phone with European leaders. During the joint press conference, Donald Trump called the meeting excellent. Volodymyr Zelensky spoke of a very constructive discussion, and he sincerely thanked the American side for the progress achieved in recent weeks.
We have made great achievements. The 20-point peace plan has been agreed upon by 90%. Security guarantees between the US and Ukraine have been agreed upon 100%. Security guarantees between the US, Europe, and Ukraine are almost finalized. Military issues have been agreed upon 100%. The plan for Ukraine's recovery and prosperity is being further developed, and we also discussed the next steps. We agreed that security guarantees are a key milestone in achieving lasting peace, and our teams will continue to work on all aspects.
Regarding security guarantees, the Ukrainian president later explained that Ukraine wants them from the US for 30 to 40 years. But for now, the document mentions 15 years with the possibility of extension. Trump promised to consider the Ukrainian proposal. Answering journalists' questions about the current stage of agreeing on security guarantees for Ukraine, the American president stated that the issue is 95% resolved.
I don't like to speak in percentages. I just think we're making very good progress. We might be very close to reaching an agreement. There are one or two very difficult and challenging issues, but I think we're handling them very well. Yes, good. We've made great progress today, but in fact we've achieved this over the past month.
The two issues the US and Ukraine both call difficult are the question of territories and the status of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, now temporarily controlled by Russia. The Federation also wants Ukrainian forces to withdraw from Donetsk areas they could not capture by force. Zelensky emphasizes that any decision regarding territory must comply with Ukrainian law and the will of the people. You
know our position. We must respect our law and our people. We respect the territory we control. And of course, our position is very clear. That is exactly why President Trump said this is a very complicated issue. And of course, we and the Russians have different positions on it. If the plan is too complicated for our society, then of course society must choose and vote because this is their land. The land does not belong to one person but to our nation for many generations. It will probably be necessary to get the plan approved by parliament or through a public referendum.
The American president believes both Russia and Ukraine want to end the war, so it should finish quickly or it could drag on much longer. Even before meeting Zelensky, Trump spoke with the Kremlin dictator by phone. And then, when journalists asked whether the head of the White House had discussed Russia's role in Ukraine's reconstruction with Putin, Trump made an unexpected statement about the Kremlin dictator's intentions.
Russia will help. Russia wants to see Ukraine succeed. At first, it sounds a bit strange, but I explained to the president that President Putin is very generous regarding Ukraine's success, including supplying energy, electricity, and other resources at very low prices. So today's call brought a lot of good results.
Donald Trump was also asked whether he was ready to visit Ukraine. He replied that he hadn't planned to, but if it would help achieve a peace agreement, then yes. I
have no problem doing that as far as I am concerned. I would like to make a deal and not necessarily have to go there. I offered to go and speak before their parliament in person if it would help in any way. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure that it's really necessary, but if it would help to save as many as 25,000 lives every single month, I would definitely, without hesitation, be willing to do it.
At the same time, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov again stated that a ceasefire in the war against Ukraine is only possible after Ukrainian forces withdraw from Donbas. He added that Moscow is considering ending the conflict only in the context of achieving its objectives. The greatest obstacle to peace is Russia itself, which refuses to agree to proposed deals, notes the New York Times. According to the publication, the Kremlin is sticking to a strategy of stalling and is not ready to make compromises. Putin is stalling for time because he senses weakness in the White House, notes Viktor Shlinchak, chairman of the board at the Institute of World Policy. And former Ukrainian ambassador to the US, Valery Chaly, believes that the main positive outcome of the negotiations for Ukraine is the absence of bad news. After all, in his opinion, they did not show any constructiveness.